This is so inappropriate. Russell, in this commentary, compares ISIS, this group running around the Middle East, lopping heads off left and right, to Fox News, who, they might persuade somebody. And I think it's part of this whole trend we have now. We elevate words to the most harmful thing in society. How dare you say something that could offend somebody?
That's right.
How dare you say something that could hurt my feelings?
Yeah.
Why have we gotten to this place where words are the worst
Let me
thing
tell
in
you,
the world?
let me not say that
Can't shut them up.
Well, what you can do is say, you know what? Don't use that redskin thing anymore. I'm not comfortable with it. Don't say this word because I don't like it. I'm Irish. I don't want to hear this. Every one of these groups has the absolute right to say, this has been harmful, this has hurt my parents, this has hurt my grandparents, and don't use it anymore, or you're going to hear about it. Or use it, and don't be surprised that people are
We'll all be out of business. We'll all stop talking. Everybody's offended all the time. From the Fighting Irish to the Redskins, everybody's offended.
Wait. That is spoken like a true white guy.
Maybe. That's what I am.
It's spoken like a true white guy, because if you... and I don't mean it in a bad way, but is it... Will your experience that, and forget politics, but have you had the experience where I don't know what your background is, so I don't even know how to refer to it. Okay. Where your grandmother said, you know, when I first came here, this is what they did to me, and this is how they treated me, and this is what they said to me, and this is what they called me?
The argument isn't...
No, but have you had that experience?
No, I have not had that experience.
That's the difference.
I want you to be clear. My argument is not that there's no such thing as offensive words. It's how you react to them. You don't shut people up because you disagree or found something they said somewhat offensive. You roll on with your life.
No. You know, the whole reason that, and I'm going to say the words, so just everybody calm down. The whole reason they is because people just got tired of it.
Don't compare it to terrorism. Don't compare words to terrorism.
I don't think that's what he was doing.
He said about President Obama, I'm going to quote you, he grew up and nobody knew him. Nobody knows who he is until later in his life. The whole thing is very strange. What are you driving at there? Are you a Bertha, Donald?
Okay, let me just tell you. I was a really good student at the best school. I'm not like a smart guy, okay? They make these birthers into the worst idiots. Why doesn't he show his birth certificate? I think he probably...
have to?
Because I have to, and everybody else has to, Whoopi.
I'm sure
why
that you
wouldn't
can't
he show...
Excuse me.
Why? No, excuse me. I really believe there's a birth certificate. Why... Look, she's smiling. Why doesn't he show his birth certificate? And you know what? I wish he would, because I think it's a terrible pall that's hanging over him. He should show his birth certificate. The other thing, if you go back to my first grade, my kindergarten, people remember me. Nobody from those early years.
That's not true. We have pictures of them. What are you talking about?
Okay, show me a picture.
There are kids in Hawaii. There are people in Hawaii. There are people that he's grown up. No, as little kids.
I haven't seen early pictures. But more importantly, why doesn't he? And you know what? I think he probably was, but the word probably, Whoopi.
Why did he have to defend himself against?
You know why?
Against an accusation.
Because if you're going to be the president,
he's an American
because if you're going to be the president of the United States, it says very profoundly that you have to be born in this country.
But did any other president do that today? Did George Bush not be the president?
Why would he want the taking over him if it's
Probably
true?
he was.
No one has ever asked George Bush or said to George Bush, I'm sorry, is Hawaii not part of the United States?
George Bush. And I'm not saying I was a fan of George Bush.
No.
You know that better than anybody. But George Bush was born in this country. That's right.
Isn't Hawaii still part of the United States?
Question?
Am I gone?
You know what?
Whether he was or not because he hasn't come forward with it?
I grew up in New York. Wall Street was a big part. I have seen fraud, and I have seen scandal, and I have seen things that a lot of people don't see. I've seen people take a $100 bill and make it $1 million bill.
We're going to have to pause. Get to the point.
Okay, the point is, I can't rely on some newspaper that they show
in order to become president of the United States, in order to
I
get
want
a
him to
driver's
show his
license,
birth certificate. I want him to show his birth certificate. There's something on that birth certificate that he doesn't like.
Oh, my God.
That's a terrible thing to say.
Whoopi, I'm telling you.
Whoopi,
I love you. I'm telling you.
I love you, too. I think that's the biggest pile of dog mess I've heard in ages.
The question is, why not show it, right?
There's something on his birth certificate he doesn't want to show.
It's not because he's black.
Let him show. Has nothing to do with that.
Because I've never heard any white president asked to be shown the birth certificate. When you become a president of the United States of America, you know that he's American. I'm saying that's BS.
Are you saying that it just only lets people have doubt?
Do you want to talk about The Apprentice?
Doesn't matter. It's doing great. The ratings are through the roof. This is more interesting.
But we have to pause. We'll have more of this when we come back.
Tell me what you're trying to say in this book. Because we don't know what you're trying to say.
What I'm trying to say is race-mongering has been very bad for America. Liberals use it to promote causes that have nothing to do with blacks and, in fact, harm blacks. And that excellent lead-in you just gave about O.J., I mean, I think that was the moment, having lived near New York City in the 70s and 80s, which was the golden era. It was like Trayvon Martin and Duke lacrosse case every day. With the O.J. verdict, white America said, that's it, the white guilt bank is shut down, and that ended up being the best thing that ever happened to black Americans. I meant that no longer...
Being acquitted was good for who?
Yes, because you had millions of white people watching with the equivalent of what in New York we used to refer to as the Brooklyn juries, who simply would not convict even guilty black criminals, not innocent black
Hold up,
criminals.
Ms. Coulter. Please stop. Please stop. If you're going to talk about race, at least know what you're talking about. At least know what you're talking about. Well, tell me how much you know about being black.
Well, this isn't about being black.
Well, but you just said, you just made all these statements about how black people feel. Tell me how you know that. Yeah, you did.
This is not a book about black people. It is a book about white liberals. And I do know, and this is a fact, that once for years, Republican policies on crime and welfare, for example, were called racist. When they finally got implemented, after the O.J. verdict, I might add, by crime Giuliani in New York, Reagan and Bush judges overall, tens of thousands of black lives were saved. That is a fact. I don't have to know about being black, but I know because you're to be dead.
Your facts are just a little shaky. I mean, you're saying that because black people, because liberals are what? Because liberals have abandoned black people now because... What? I don't get it. I don't understand.
I don't think liberals ever cared about black people. I mean, 5 minutes after the Civil Rights Act of '64, they start calling everything that has nothing to do with black people a civil rights issue. Abortion on demand, homeless rights.
So are you saying that liberals don't care about black people? Then are you saying Republicans embrace us in a warm, fuzzy blanket?
We're not embraced back. But yeah, we tried to.
So wait a minute. So the Southern strategy was a white liberal thing? No, it was a Republican thing.
No.
And also, Newt Gingrich calls President Obama the food stamp president. That's not racist?
This chapter.
Wait a second.
Do you really think that was... Do you believe it was racist for Newt to say that the president is a food stamp president?
Well, he wouldn't say that.
If we could just skip, I'm not a big fan of Newt, so if we could just skip that for a second and get to the Southern strategy. Yeah. Because I've specifically disproved it. It's an absolutely liberal folklore. Republicans were winning the South since 1920. It was the outer states of the South. It was Texas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia.
Voting. What are you talking about? We weren't allowed to vote.
Who was trying to get them to vote? Republicans were.
Yeah,
and the first black congressmen were all Republicans. And the first black governor was a Republican.
You're talking about way back
After is so different from
No, that is definitely what we're told. But in fact, the Democratic segregationists were all liberal Democrats. It is a lie that they were conservative Democrats.
It was a segregationist, darling. You know, basically, everybody was. White people were. It didn't matter whether they were Republicans or not.
Ask you a question.
The first integrationists. Just read chapter 14 in this book. The first Republicans to be elected in the South.
Listen to my grandmother, who was there, who remembers what happened.
Howard Baker, an aggressive integrationist, first Republican elected in Tennessee to the Senate. You have Winthrop Rockefeller, first Republican governor in
But you know, I have a question
Arkansas.
about today.
Integration.
Let me ask you something about what's going on now. It seems to me...
The Southern strategy is a lie.
It seems to me that voter suppression is happening in areas where black people and Hispanics are, and it really is being promoted by the Republicans, not the Democrats. So in my view, and I have a different one from you, it looks as though the Republicans are really going against blacks, not the liberals.
No, and this is a perfect example. Yes, it is, and it's a perfect example. No, I'll explain why. Of liberals using the label of civil rights to promote a liberal cause they support, i.e. voter fraud. In fact, one of the first states in the Union to pass voter ID bills was Rhode Island, 85% Democratic legislature, and who pushed it? A black Democrat in the House, a black Democrat in the Senate. That's a fact.
No, you may pick out Rhode Island, but there are other states where it's completely Republican-driven.
Why would black Democrats be pushing this? Because they had seen
because
voter
they want
fraud.
the Hispanic vote to go to
Can I
Romney.
ask a general question? Every book that you write is very controversial and shocking, and it's usually an opinion that's disparate with everybody else's.
Right.
Do you just write these books and try to find whatever it is that's going to make everybody say,
Well, do you believe this crap?
The reason, it's an excellent question. The reason I write these books is because I try to correct things that people believe that are just false.
Here's the question
And this is a lot.
This is a question because I was reading a book,
and you're the only one that says it, but
Well, there are a few things. I mean, discovering that we never won the Goldwater states and Republicans didn't win the Dixiecrat states until the Dixiecrats died out.
You keep staying back in the past. You got to come into the present. But this is what I want to say.
That's new to me. The rest of it, other people know.
In reading your book, you know, you keep saying if you would read chapter 14, if you would read, you make such divisive comments and incendiary comments and hateful comments at times. It makes people not want to pick up your book and read it.
So people agree with her. Read it.
Yeah, well, people agree with
No,
you.
I don't think so. You name a hateful comment in here.
You know, when you talk about you stay in the past, that Republican.
No, only because it was brought up. There's only one chapter on the past, and I mean, it's just a fact.
But when you talk about something like voter suppression, which obviously is trying to keep black people and Latinos,
they have never done that. That was a Democrat thing.
And it's in states where they don't even have any.
stop. Let me just, can I just say one thing, Dan? No matter what, you sit down here and you've got 5 women going, butter.
Yes.
Whatever it is, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.